Hey there, it's early Sunday morning. I thought it's nice out. I got a little bit of time, got up early, so I got some time before church, so I figured just do another little video update. Today I wanted to talk about just my garden results for this year. I sheet mulched my garden last fall and just had terrific results from it, so I thought I'd share that with everybody and let you see kind of what that looks like. So first talk a little bit about sheet mulching. Basically what I did last fall is got a bunch of cardboard. Went to one of the local fast food restaurants and just dug cardboard out of the recycle bin. My sister's the manager, so I checked with her first to make sure it was okay, and they saved some boxes for me and broke those down, took all the plastic and stuff like that off, and then laid those down on the ground where they overlapped, 2 layers deep, or two layers of cardboard, so there's nowhere for the weeds to get up through. Laid that over the whole area, put about, I don't know, 3-4 inches worth of straw on top of that. Then I went down to the local compost facility, the city compost facility. I got a trailer full of compost from them. It's just a serve your own thing. I went out there with a sifter and sifted out all the garbage and the rocks and things like that, and came back with a trailer full of compost, spread that over the whole garden about, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches deep. And then I mulched on top of that. And what I mulched on top of that with was just dead leaves. It was fall, so there were leaves everywhere all over the ground. I got my leaf blower out and turned it around to the vacuum setting, sucked up all the leaves and kind of mulched them up, and then spread that out, I don't know, 1 inch or 2 over top of that. Let that sit over the winter time, and then when spring came, I just planted right into that compost. Everything in my garden was grown from seed. It's all heirloom. And you can see that, well, when we go through here, it's done fantastic. Now keep in mind, it is late August, or actually early August. It's August 2nd right now, so we've gone through, the heat of summer, all of July. Some of these things have just produced, and they're about done producing, but they've done really, really well. We've had a lot of rain this year, but even when the rain stopped, I really have not had to water heavily. It's done really, really well with keeping the water in. Another thing that I've done is, of course, that leaf layer of mulch on the top layer, it decomposed. So when I mow the yard, I mow the yard in a way that I push all the grass clippings to the middle. Then I raked all those up, brought them out here and used those as mulch on the garden, and that's done really, really well too, with helping keep the water preserved and not having to water nearly as much. I water maybe once. The last 2 weeks, we haven't had any rain in the last 3 weeks. So the last 2 weeks, I've watered about once a week. And that's been sufficient to keep everything producing pretty well. So anyway, let me take you on a tour through the garden here, and we'll show you kind of how everything looks. First thing I want to do, though, is I'm going to step back a little bit here, see if you can see this, and just show you my tomato plants. Stand next to them. I've never had tomatoes grow this big before, and they're just doing great. So if you can see, me standing next to these things. I'm about 5'10", 5'9". These things are every bit of 7 feet tall. They're just huge and bushy. Tomatoes all over them. I've been getting just a bumper crop of tomatoes. So the only problem I've had with my tomato plants really is that the normal 24-inch spacing or whatever really wasn't enough, because to get in there and get to everything is just ridiculously, I mean, it's like crawling through a jungle to get through all that stuff. So I'll take you through and show you a little bit of a tour here, and just kind of let you see that. All right, so again, these are my tomato plants here, and one thing I'll show you that I did this year, which has worked out pretty well. I've kind of crowded this stuff pretty close together, but if you can see right there in the middle, this right here, this is a jalapeno plant, and it's done pretty well. I mean, I've already canned a bunch of jalapenos off of it, and there's several of them. There's another one back there. There's another one over here, but they're all mixed in with my tomato plants, and you can see what I mean by being just incredibly difficult to get through. I mean, this is bushy and brushy and thick. So anyway, yeah, jalapenos right between the tomatoes have done really, really well. Tomatoes have done really, really well. And you can see I've got some that I just picked yesterday. I picked a bunch, and I've got some that are going to need picked again. These tomatoes right here are a Amish paste tomato, and These right here are Mortgage Lifter Red heirloom tomatoes. So I'll be saving seeds from those and replanting again next year. These plants right here, these went in the ground about a week and a half, 2 weeks later than the other plants. I haven't harvested many ripe tomatoes off here yet, but the good thing is that these are just starting to get there. I mean, they've got green tomatoes on them if you can see them, but they'll extend my season a little bit, and I'll be getting tomatoes off those once these plants over here are done producing. So this is my okra. This is I don't remember the name of the okra, but it's a short Louisiana something, short fat okra pods. And you know, I just picked okra off this yesterday and canned 3 jars of pickled okra, and you know, I've already got more okra coming up that's just about right size to pick. So done really well. I mean, these plants are, you know, 4 feet tall, just good stocky heavy plants. Again, done great. Everything's done great. This was my zucchini here, and it's done producing. I've already gotten plenty of zucchini off of it. It looks like, I mean, I've got another bloom, if you can see it right down there. So maybe I'll get another plant or 2 off of this, but I think I'm about ready. What I'm going to do is probably pull all this out right here and plant some, I don't know, maybe arugula or, you know, something like that, and get a fall crop out of that. So this right here is my cantaloupe. It's a Minnesota midget cantaloupe on this side, and then I've got cucumber on the other side. And what I did for a trellis on these was I stacked up, I set up these wire cage, if you can see that, tomato cages. It's just a round tomato cage. Same thing I've got over on my tomatoes over there, holding them up. That I let the cucumber trellis up one side and let the cantaloupe trellis up the other side, so that you know, I don't have to worry about losing half my garden to, you know, cucumbers and cantaloupes going all over the place. And you know, I just picked cucumbers yesterday and pickled about 4 jars of cucumber, and it looks like I've missed some because there's still some cantaloupe on here. So but you can see, let's see, do I have a cantaloupe? I know there's a couple of them. Here's one down here. And I've been picking cantaloupe. One thing I've liked about this one's starting to get ripe, and I really should build a sling for this and lift it up. But you know what, these cantaloupe right here, these are called a Minnesota midget, I think. And again, an heirloom. They are not huge cantaloupes. They're, you know, about fist size. So for me, that works out pretty well, because, you know, usually the problem I have with growing cantaloupe is that it all comes ripe at the same time, and then, you know, you can't eat it all. But that's a good sized cantaloupe. When they get ripe, they just fall off the vine. You just come out and pick them up. So they're pretty good. I've had quite a bit of cantaloupe. There's some cucumbers growing. They grew so well, they grew over the top of the trellis and down the other side. Here's one of my, I've already harvested this one, but you can see this is an old t-shirt that I built, that I tied off to the cage, and I had a cantaloupe sitting in that one, but that one's already been ripe and I've already harvested it. So on the other side here, let's see, I don't remember what I had in here before, but it's already been done. This is black-eyed pea that I just planted, about 2 weeks ago. And even with planting seeds, I still didn't have to water any more than normal. Usually that's the time when you have to really water, is when you're going from seeds. So that's all black-eyed pea. The only thing that has not done well is my onion. And you probably can't even see that on camera, but let me walk down through here. But these onions were planted in the spring. These are like, here it is right here, and they just have not, they've never really gone anywhere. I mean, they were planted from seed and they sprouted and grew up this tall, but never performed great big onion heads. So I'm not an expert on onion growing at all, so I need to look into that a little bit and see, you know, if there's something that I can do to get the onion growing a little bit better. So anyway, you know, sheet mulching is great. What I did out here on the edges, you know, there's some weeds starting to grow up through here now, but it hasn't been bad. But I'll take you down here to the end, because I'll show you kind of what I've done. I basically did everything. Here's my cardboard. There we go. There's the cardboard right there. And then straw on top of it. And I just didn't put the compost over here. These two beds over here are just beds that haven't been sheet mulched yet. I went over them with the torch yesterday to kill off all the weeds. I'm going to plant garlic in one of them to have garlic going for next year, because I harvested a really good crop of garlic. And this is a little high tunnel system I built. I just drove some rebar into the ground on the edges here, put these PVC pipes, just laid that over the top of that rebar. In the wintertime I draped some plastic over the whole thing, and I can grow. See, I grew spinach all through last winter. It was a fairly mild winter, but still grew it through the winter and harvested in the spring, harvested it throughout the winter. I was harvesting fresh spinach in, oh good grief, in like December and January, and grew that all winter long, and in the summertime it was a monstrous plant. So anyway, great results in the garden. Hopefully, turn this back. So yeah, great results in the garden. Hopefully, this gives you some ideas of what you can do. It's been pretty well weed free. I haven't had to do much weeding. Now what I plan on doing when the garden's done this year is I'm going to, of course, pull out all the plants. I'm going to lay down as much, compost and probably some rabbit manure on top of that as well. And then I'm going to mulch heavily over the top of that and let it over winter, plant back into it in the spring, and I expect to have very similar results. So hopefully that gives you something that you can think about doing with your own garden. If you're not planting a garden now, I've got a pretty big space here, but I highly suggest that you plant a few things. Doesn't take much room to put a tomato plant in, and one tomato plant will produce plenty of tomatoes for you to, slice up and put on sandwiches. And there's nothing better than, a hot summer day and having a nice, frying up some bacon, some mayo, getting some lettuce, and making a nice BLT sandwich. It just screams summertime. It's just the best thing in the world. So anyway, highly suggested. If you have a really small space and all you can do is containers, greens grow really well in containers. Lots of things grow really well in containers. You're just going to have to water them a little bit more, but there's no reason you can't do that. I highly suggest you grow some of your own vegetables if you're not doing it now. And sheet mulching is a great way to do it, especially if you've got a small area. It always works. Always works. So anyway, if you have questions, comments, please leave them. I look forward to hearing from you. And as always, I look forward to constructive criticism. If there's feedback you have on what I can do to make my videos better, then please leave them for me. I look forward to hearing from you. And again, thank you for watching, and God bless.